Hello, I'm Anthony Tattersall, and I'm the producer and director of Containment. The idea for the film actually came from a short story that I read about 10 years ago, and we entered it into a competition as a 10-minute script. Now, we didn't actually get in, but we did get to the last 10, and I got to the point that I decided that I wanted to make the film anyway, so we decided that's what we were going to do. It's an ambitious project. It was something that is kind of unusual for a short film in that it's a sort of futuristic thriller sci-fi type genre. And we really wanted to establish it as a good quality piece. So we went out to try and get a fully BSc qualified member for our director of photography. And thankfully Alan Trow came on board, and as you'll see throughout the film, he's produced some fantastic lighting for us. One of the things we wanted to do was open the film with a really interesting sequence, and the idea was that we'd start off the film with a high fall stunt, which you will see coming up very shortly. And we managed to get Mark Cass to do this stunt for us at considerably less than standard industry rates, which was fantastic for us. This stuff here is all shot in the studio. We shot a lot of the sequences in the Chief Justice's office here in Shepperton Studios. Most of the rest of the film was done in London. This car was actually bought off eBay for the grand total of £66. And the sequence here was actually shot in my living room, the only part of my house that I actually did get into the film. We auditioned for the actors. We had about 600 applicants, and Trey came out as our lead and has done a great job here, playing opposite Stuart Saunders as the Chief Justice. Most of the shots you'll see here are done using blue screen and some special effects work, which is done by Sean Cole. And all of this took quite a long time to do, and half the time because we weren't exactly sure how it's going to work when we got to the end result. Most of this stuff was filmed within one day, again in Shepperton Studios. The whole shoot took place over a 6-day period. We were probably in pre-production for a couple of months before that, and post took us about another 2 or 3 months afterwards. And it pretty much went fairly smoothly. We could have had a lot more problems than actually occurred on the day. We were using Panavision's camera of the Sony f900 to shoot the film, and if it had gone wrong, anything gone wrong with that camera, we didn't have any kind of backup. So we were just crossing our fingers that nothing was going to go wrong as we went through this. Most of this set here is actually 3 sides, in fact 2 3/4 sides, which gave us a lot of access with the cameras to get in and around it and light it from above to give that kind of nice even lighting throughout the set. We had to hire in props, which were rather more expensive than we wanted it to be for the actual studio set. But we managed to fit it in the budget somehow. This scene here, we were originally going to have this in what we had in the script was Trey's living room, or Jacob's living room. However, we didn't really have any budget to build a set for it, and we didn't want anything to look too contemporary. So in the end, we just put this table right in the middle of Shepperton Studios, and then allow the light to sort of dim off around it, so it just went into blackness. And then with a little bit of sound work, created this sort of huge warehouse space around them, which I think works a lot better anyway than it would have been if we'd actually gone and stuck it into a room somewhere or even built a studio set for it. Going back here, these are the flashback scenes to the mother and the dead daughter. The guys around this table here, we did a couple of hours rehearsals, and we pretty much went straight into it. They were all whispering extremely quietly on the actual set, but it comes out brilliantly on the sound here. So they're obviously now plotting to overthrow the Chief Justice, and then we cut into the bike chase. Now most of this stuff here, the bikes, all took place in a disused timber yard. The kind of idea we had for the film was very much to set it in a sort of post-apocalyptic type world. One, because we couldn't afford to do any futuristic sets, and second of all, it kind of worked really nicely as a sort of compromise or contrast with the Department of Justice building, which you'll see later on. So we're now back into the studio here where we did the disintegration field, which again was done using blue screen work. All of the bike stuff was actually very difficult. We got a tracking vehicle in to record most of the shots from, but the road was so potholed that even with a tracking vehicle with all the suspension and everything, that most of the shots were bouncing around all over the place, which made it very, very difficult to cut anything together, which would make everyone go blind when we were doing it. This bit here was another one of our little problems on the day. The stump that we have fitted there to Trey. The guy that was originally going to do it we're going to film this on the Wednesday, and the Monday morning he called in to say he had chickenpox and there was no way he could come in, so we had to rush around last minute to try and find somebody who could actually build us a prosthetic arm to fit to Trey within 2 days' notice. Luckily we managed to find someone, obviously, and everything went okay in the end. This building here, the Department of Justice, was actually down in Canary Wharf, and it was a fantastic building. We looked absolutely everywhere to try and find somewhere which had a large enough atrium that we could get the sort of tracking distances that we wanted, and this kind of huge building to represent the Department of Justice. And this was one of only 2 buildings that we could actually manage to find, and one of those was not available on the day we needed to shoot. So in the end we got very lucky to get this building, and it works fantastically well in the film as a location. So this is all these sort of lights and things on the lifts were all part of the building, which is really quite nice and gives that sort of studio futuristic feel without us having to do too much set dressing. The office scene here in the Chief Justice, all of the monitor screens were just done with blue screen boards, and actually using footage from some old films of mine which were probably shot, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago now, and the footage has finally seen the light of day, because it was certainly some of the more amateur stuff I was involved with when I was starting off in filmmaking. The scene here we had with the prosthetic arm coming off Trey was actually quite difficult in that it wouldn't actually fit in his jacket sleeve. So the only way we could actually do it was to dismantle the arm and just have the very front bit of it hanging out of Jacob's sleeve, and somebody was actually standing behind him holding the arm in place, making sure it didn't fall out as he was standing there. This vial, we actually managed to make that just using some test tubes that we again ordered off eBay. eBay probably provided us with about 30% of our props in this film. 2 little test tubes stuck together with a sort of printed poison sign to collect together. And the smoke effect just came from a smoke machine, which you'll sort of see working pretty disastrously on the bloopers reel if you have a look at that. But all the end, it worked out well. This is the sort of escape from the Department of Justice. Originally, we were going to have this sort of idea of Jacob running towards these closing doors, and we sort of cut back and forth between the doors getting close to being shut and Jacob running through them. But just didn't quite work on the day, and the way it is now, it keeps the pace up a little bit faster anyway, so we're pretty much happy with what we've got there. We're about to start off again to the actual main bike chase. This was something that we pretty much said, look, if we get 10 seconds of it or we get 3 minutes of it, we just have to take what we get in the day. And the storyboard was just very much a case of a few ideas of how the bike chase might work out. It's going to be very location dependent. But what we did was we filmed the stunt scene in the morning, the high fall stunt, and that gave the lighting guys time to start setting up the lights in the warehouse, and they spent about 7 hours lighting up the main warehouse for this scene, and it really pays off, especially in some of these shots here, as you can see, the flying bikes flying through the smoke and all the lights coming down, which is brilliant. This is the warehouse that they lit, and they had these huge ladders trying to get those lights up in the rafters, most of which was cannibalized from just bits and parts they found around the site. Again, we really sort of struggled to cut this together because we didn't have a lot of time. We only had one evening to shoot the whole bike chase scene in, and it worked out really about 4 hours of filming time by the time we actually had to leave the timber yard. So we think we've made the most of what we had to get the actual sequence we've got, and it works fairly well. And it's only once you put the music to it, it really helps a huge amount. When we first saw it, we just thought, oh my god, how slow is this? And we were just very limited, even the speeds we were doing with the length of the road that we could go, that we couldn't realistically get anything up above more than about 20-30 miles an hour, and still keeping everything safe for all the actors. This last scene here, I really love this last scene. It builds up fantastically. Music performances are really great from the actors here. And we wanted to try and make it as if this was going to be the end of the film, the sort of climax of the film, where Jacob is going to go into the disintegration field, and everybody thinks he's actually escaped justice, and hopefully his plan will come to fruition and the department will be brought down. But the twist, obviously, in the tale is it doesn't quite work out that way, and we find that Chani now finds herself taking Jacob's place for the punishment. That should have gone down to Jacob for his crimes, and things will carry on as they always were, and the department will continue to rule and destroy people's lives. So it's kind of a very dark twist at the end of the film. That was always the idea behind it. It has a sort of 1984 feel to it in that sense. And I always liked this story. Most people, when they heard the twist for the first time, it was something that really could have surprised them. This is one of the sort of last shots we had. In fact, this obviously isn't actually Chani in here. It's actually one of our lighting trainees filling in the role, because we only had one costume size and it had to fit for both Eleanor and Chani's characters. And so she thankfully filled in for us. And as you can see from the credits, we had a lot of people involved in this film. Everyone's done a fantastic job. We all had a lot of great fun making the film, and I hope that everyone who's watching this will enjoy it as well, as much as that we enjoyed making it. Thank you very much for listening. My name was Anthony Tattersall, and I look forward to making another film, which hopefully you will get to see in the near future. Thank you, and good night. But whatever it is what